Hi there everyone. Today I'm going to make a traditional cookie. It's been in my family since before I was even here. My mom is from New Mexico, so she grew up with all the New Mexican cooking and baking, and it came from my grandmother and generations before that. So I have a New Mexican cookbook that an aunt gave me many years ago, several years ago, and I have a few meals that I've made on my channel that I reference this book. But all these recipes come from my mom, so I received this from my aunt, but I already have all the recipes written down from my mom that I grew up with. Although I didn't grow up in New Mexico, I have all of my mom's recipes because she grew up there. So today I'm going to make something called Biscochitos. It's an anise seed cookie that my mother has made every Christmas. The last two Christmases she slowed down, so she hasn't made them, but I make them almost every Christmas, with the exception of this year. I made so many different cookies and fudge recipes that I still haven't made it this year yet. So I am going to make it today before New Year's. And if you like aniseed and you like sugar cookies, you will absolutely love these cookies. They're really, really good. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. The first thing you're going to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to put in our sugar and butter. I'm making half the recipe, so it normally calls for 4 cups of lard. I'm using butter, but I'm using 1 cup of butter instead because I'm cutting the recipe in half. So the first thing we're going to do is blend our butter and sugar together. You're going to add 1 egg yolk. You're going to add 1 teaspoon of anise seed. So this is your batter, and now you're going to alternately add your flour, salt, and baking powder alternately with some water. And the amounts will be in the description because I'm cutting the recipe in half. So you're going to blend these alternately together, the water and the flour, salt, and baking powder. You're going to want to get some cookie cutters. These happen to be my mom's that she let me have when I saw her for the holiday, and that we've had them in the family for years. I have quite a bit. This is a brand new cookie sheet that my son in Germany got me with other items for baking as well. He got me a silicone baking sheet, but I just washed it, so I'm going to be using, I'm going to alternate between those and my parchment paper. So you're going to want to either have a lightly greased baking pan or a parchment covered sheet. And what we're going to do is, this is our dough. We're going to roll it out and cut them in shapes right now. You're also going to want to get a little dish and put some sugar and cinnamon in it, because this is what we're going to sprinkle the cookies with. So here's our dough, and this is half of the recipe. So you can see how much this is. And if I'd used the whole recipe, I would have double this. So what I do is I take half of it, and like I said, I only made half the recipe, so it's quite a bit of dough. And unless you're having, like, you know, a big group of people, you're not going to want to make all those cookies. So what I'm going to do right now is flour my area here, and I'm going to roll out the dough 1/8 of an inch thick. And then and I have all my little cookie cutters. You want to get those all ready to cut them. So this is what we're doing right now. We're just rolling out our dough. And you can see all the little speckles of aniseed in them, and they're really good. There are a lot of Italian cookies that use aniseed in them also. So like I said, this recipe has been in my family for years. It's a New Mexican cookie. And one thing about the state of New Mexico, they have their own style of baking and cooking. They just have very New Mexican style to everything that they cook, which is really good. So here, this is about how we want it. So what you want to do when you cut them is just kind of cut them close together so you don't waste any dough. And so I have all kinds of cookie cutters. So I'm going to use a little of every one. So we're going to be making our little cookies now after we've rolled all the dough out. And try to put them real close together so you use all the dough. And you can use any kind of shapes you want. I have quite a bit of them. So we'll just finish up these. After you cut out all your cookies, you're going to want to take some sugar and cinnamon and you're going to sprinkle them on top of all the cookies. And I do it on a different plate so I don't get it all over the cookie sheet. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to transfer these to our cookie sheet. Here's our first batch of cookies. So we just put sugar and cinnamon on them, and now we're going to put them in a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes, totally depending on your oven. They need to be golden on the bottom. Just took these out of the oven, so these are our first batch of cookies, and they look wonderful, and they are golden on the bottom, just like that. So these are our finished cookies. They're all different shapes. They're really, really good, so I'm going to give one a try. A really good traditional flavor. A little aniseed, a little sugar, a little cinnamon. Really, really good. Not a strong tasting cookie, a mild one with just the right amount of ingredients. So I think you should give this a try. I think you'll really like it. Happy New Year to everyone.